Hey guys, Myles here. It's another Monday, so that means another dry fire session. And I'm all suited up here, all with my camo and all that, because we're in Arizona for one of our classes. And we have some time to kill, so I thought might as well knock out this dry fire session for you guys. So ignore the camo. You guys don't need this for your dry fire session. Today we're going to continue our series about stance and how to use stance to better manage recoil. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Last week we talked about finding our proper center of gravity to help manage recoil. Because recoil is going to be pushing into our body directly opposite of where that bullet comes out of. So we want to better manage recoil so that our sights, our gun is going to go back right to where it started from. And if we have a bad stance, then it's going to take a longer time for our gun to go back to zero. And then we have to take a longer time or wait to take another shot. So by finding our proper center of gravity where we don't move or we move very little and return back to that zero very quickly, that's the ideal situation that we want to be in. But there's other things when we're working stance right here, it's very easy to be in this proper stance that you found, the balance point. Everyone's gonna be different. Remember, body type, all that, rate of fire, the gun you're shooting, all that. So you have to find it based on your unique combination. Once you find it though, this is not enough. One of the biggest issues for newer shooters is anticipation, meaning you want to have your gun, when you're breaking shots, notice how my muzzle is remaining level. But for a lot of new shooters, they anticipate because they're anticipating that recoil, that rearward force, so they're going to push into the gun. And by pushing into the gun, that can dramatically affect your accuracy negatively, particularly for newer shooters who do not really understand that they are anticipating, and before the bullet leaves the barrel, their gun changes point of aim. So right now, I might be aiming at you, but before I break the shot, my gun actually dips because I'm anticipating the recoil. I'm trying to push against it. So it's very important that you try to be passive. Now, there are two schools of thought, and I'll leave a link to the video so that you can dive into this deeper. I'll leave it up here. There's anticipation of the shot and anticipation of recoil. So I'll leave this video here so that you can learn more about that. That said, there are different schools of thought in dealing with recoil. Right now, we are going to take the school of thought where you should be passive, where you shouldn't do anything. The shot breaks and you're going to let your body, with a proper forward center of gravity, bring your gun back to where it started from automatically. You don't have to drive it in, okay? If you watch the video that I linked to, that's going to explain things better to make more sense. So what we need to do is, when you guys are dry firing, you can do any dry fire exercise you want to, okay? But you need to mentally focus on, remember, hyper focus on not trying to anticipate. Now, it's easy doing in dry fire because there's no bang, and it's usually mental. That explosion is and that rearward force that we feel, we're trained to push back, right? That's a natural reaction. So we need to train that out of ourselves. Now, dry fire by yourself is very hard to do when you don't have any kind of explosion or blowback or anything like that, right? So you can be, you could be pulling the trigger all you want, right? But if you don't have that explosion, you might still anticipate. So what we need to do for this dry fire session is to bring in a partner, okay? And you don't really need your gun for this. If you have a plastic gun, you can use that, right? A blue gun, orange gun. But if you don't, then don't put the gun away, because you're going to need a partner, and your partner's actually going to hit you, so to speak. And you'll see what I mean in a sec. So I have Charles here, and we're going to do this partner drill that's going to help you stop anticipating recoil. So what we talked about is you want to get in your stance and learn to pull that trigger without added force, added action on your part. So the way to do this is you're going to put your arms together like you're holding a gun, just like this. I wouldn't do this because then you can hurt your fingers, but you'll see what I mean in a second. But just like you're holding a gun here, and you're going to get in your stance, that proper center of gravity that you know, right about here. It might be right about here, right? And so you're going to have your partner pretend to be recoil. It is actually going to hit your arm here. And what you want to do, I'm going to do this incorrectly, so Charles is going to hit, and he should hit your arms within, it's a second and a half to 2 seconds, so that your brain is registering it as real recoil, as an actual shot, and your brain still wants to push back. The idea here is we want to fight that urge to push back. Now I'm going to do this incorrectly, so this is my stance, and right now he's going to stop. And notice how I moved forward because I'm anticipating. He's not going to let me know when he's going to stop. But the idea is I want to be completely passive and not push into it. right? And this is all mental, but this is the problem with dry fire when we're working on this being passive. You need a partner. So again, I'm going to get my stance. I'm going to hit my hands here. I'm going to do this incorrectly again. Charles is going to just do this anytime he wants. And notice how I moved a little bit. It was better than the first time, but still I'm anticipating, right? So the idea here is you want to be completely passive, think like you're breaking the shots, and not really do anything at all. So when he stops, there's little movement. Now, actually, he caught me while I was actually moving back from the original one. So it's not the same thing. It's not bad if that's happening. Because remember, we said that if you have a good forward center of gravity, the ideal is you're going to be pushed back a little bit or not at all. But if you are pushed back, you come right back to the original position. So if you found yourself coming back to the original position, that's not a bad thing. What we want to avoid is you're back to the original position and then they fake you out and you kind of do this, right? That's what we don't want, okay? So just keep that in mind because some of you might be coming back from managing that recoil or the actual initial explosion, right? So have a partner do this, and you can do this until the point where you're doing it and you're not really moving at all. Like literally, you do this number 10 reps in a row and you're not moving, then you're good, okay? The idea here is that you want to just be passive. So this is where you need a partner, okay? This is going to help out a lot. The more you do this with a partner, it's going to help out when we get to our live fire session on Thursday. After you do that partner exercise and you've really ingrained it in your mind and you're not really moving forward anticipating, then go back to your gun and take multiple shots, do any kind of dry fire exercise you want, but the focus should be on not pushing forward. All you're going to be doing is just staying passive, and the only thing that's moving is your trigger finger to break the shot, but there should be no other added movement. So I hope you like that additional layer into the stance and better managing recoil. This is going to really help alleviate one of the biggest problems for newer shooters, and that's anticipation. So do this with a partner, then grab your gun and do multiple trigger pulls, transitions, but the hyper focus should be on not anticipating, not giving added movement or action on your part, okay? Just can be completely passive. So do the partner drill and the dry fire practice, maybe 3 times this week, and get to the point where you're not really pushing forward. That's gonna set you up for success on Thursday during our live fire session. See you guys on Thursday, and as always, if you like the video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us some comments below as to what you think or if you wanna see other topics.